Introducing the second segment of the International Spiritual Conference, hosted by African Hidden Voices.
First point that we highlighted is polytheism and monotheism. We are in African indigenous spirituality looking at the issue of polytheism. What is polytheism? Polytheism is the veneration and the respect of multiple gods, as opposed to religion. Religion looks at only one supreme god. It does not respect that there is multiple gods with different set of capabilities and set of talents or gifts, so to speak. But in African indigenous spirituality, when you look at African indigenous spirituality, we look at multiple gods who also fall under a spiritual hierarchy. The spiritual hierarchy starts with the supreme being, and then it is followed by what we call Iztun, or the gods, and then PSCBs, what we call physical central spiritual beings. That is the hierarchy that exists within African indigenous spirituality. Well, it's not, it's so radically opposed to the concept of Trinity in religion. So let's not confuse and conflate it with the religious Trinity. But in African indigenous spirituality, we look at multiple gods that we respect and we pray to. We do not worship ancestors, but we respect and we honor our ancestors. We do not worship them. So via respecting that spiritual hierarchy, we then find a way to the supreme being. We get to the supreme being directly, but we respect the hierarchy that has been put into the fold. And the definition of spirituality in the previous conference that we had. Spirituality is a dual system where we as physical beings recognize the spiritual world. We communicate with the spiritual world. There's nothing else that we do without looking and understanding what the spirit world is.
What AIS is not. There are certain misconceptions that abound AIS, and in this presentation, we showcase and illuminate what AIS is not. Number one, it is not a religion. AIS is not a religion, no movement. Number two, it does not have a religious book. It is not a logocentric as Christianity or Islam that is transmitted through written text. It is rather a spirituality that is orally transmitted in the hearts and minds of people. Number three, it has no dogma, no doctrine. There is no set of rules that one must ascribe to, but has a set of spiritual principles that need to be respected. Number four, it has no teachers but spiritual guiders. It is based on revelation teachings from physical spiritual central beings. Number five, it has no church spiritual institutions. Religions have built churches which are starting to be abandoned and renamed in Europe the source of their existence. On the contrary, AIS has institutions like the Kemetic Netakari, where spiritual knowledge was imparted to practitioners.
All right. So first of all, I want to thank the African Hidden Voices for giving a chance like this, so that I can express like my experience, my question over this topic, which has been really confusing, compromising in many African regions. So hearing from what has been said, it has given me some experience and some also ideas on who we are as Africans, our spirituality, and how can we go further with our spirituality, because there have been many things which has been affecting our African people. First of all, I want to talk about what influences spirituality. like from my research, from my point of view, what influences spirituality. So it has been noted that spirituality is most influenced by culture and social factors. So you can see that where you come from is where your spirituality comes from. Like most people who came from Arabia, they're from Islam. Most people who come from Europe, they are Catholics and other churches. But most of people who come from Africa, they don't know their spirituality. They follow their spiritualities. Up to a point whereby an African can kill another African so that he can impress the people which they don't know. You can see. So this was and is an important idea and also a stepping stone for us Africans to know what we are doing, how we are, what we were. So I have also researched that and has also found that there are some factors which negatively affect African spirituality. So I might explain some two factors which affect African spirituality. So first of all is missional activity, which happened early in the colonial time. So these missional activities, like Christianity and Islamic missional activities, have often accompanied their teaching lessons like with dismissive ways towards African spirituality. Like when they were teaching, like for example, in my country, in my religion, they were teaching people that if you burn an incense, that means you are not following God. Like you are doing some things which Sangoma does, so you are evil. But when a white person, like for example, in a Catholic church, they do burn their incense, like using an oven, which smoke comes out. When they do that particular things, that's okay. That's a good way. So this is where a compromise is from us Africans. You see, we don't follow our spirituality. So secondly, I want to talk about education and awareness. We have to educate our African people, mostly, especially the youth, about how our African spirituality is. Since most of the population of the youth, like in Central Africa, East or West, they don't know anything about this African spirituality. And I can also admit that I didn't know anything from the beginning. I thought it was just like a conversation, but right now I can say that I'm grateful because I have known what is really a spirituality. Because there was a spirituality before the religion. So these people brought a religion to compromise the spirituality.
Okay. Let me take this opportunity and say thank you, the hidden voice of Africa spirituality. I am Nsengoko Jojumora from Ghana, the founder of Back to Africa Identity. And I really love the program. I love the show. I love the teachings. I love the education because anytime we see things like this, we know Africa, we are restoring Africa back to Africa's spirituality. Let me take it this way. When we talk about African spirituality, it's like the internal memory and the external memory. African spirituality is like the internal memory in the computer. But when we talk about religion is the external memory. So the computer cannot work without the internal memory until it is corrupted, until it is attacked by virus. So when the colonizers came to Africa, they have to corrupt the internal memory, which is our spirituality. As I was saying, Africa's spirituality doesn't base on beliefs, but based on knowledge. We knew, we know. So it's time we have to spread this message to the younger and the next generation. I keep telling people, give them earlier what you got late. Give them earlier what we got late. In Africa's spirituality, we don't worship our ancestors. We don't worship our symbols. We only pay homage to our ancestors and give them, how do you call it? We pay homage to them, then we respect them because we knew they were before we are. But when the colonizers came, they have to corrupt the system, corrupt our brain, and tell us they are evil, they are demonic. In African spirituality, we don't know the word demons, wizard, witches, evil. No, we don't have that language until our colonizers came. And again, I said it, in our spirituality, the Asian spirituality, the African spirituality is known. It's known to each and everyone. It's not hidden. Everyone knows about it. But until they came to Africa, they have to cut our history, cut everything, and retain everything and give us different things. So we are following, let me say, fake informations. Religion is the fake version of spirituality. Spirituality is the original one. Spirituality is the divine one. Spirituality is the powerful one. Spirituality is the conscious one.
Spirituality in my country, South Sudan, is not really something that people really talk about or people really think about, because in South Sudan here, by the way, we are still building churches. Like I said, in order to talk about spirituality, you have to put religion in it, because religion is the main reason why spirituality is almost deemed like shrunk, you understand? And South Sudan here, people, like I said, people are still building churches, and mega churches, by the way. And people, when you talk to somebody about our culture or about something, they will say those are demonic things, those are demonic beings. They can even say our ancestors were demons because the Bible told them, because Bible actually demonized our religions. Bible demonized the culture, which is supposed to be the spirituality, you understand? Religion is the organization of spirituality into something that became the handmaiden of conquerors. Nearly all religious institutions, or maybe all religions, were brought to people and imposed on people by conquerors and used as the framework to control their minds or to control our minds, because that is the main purpose of religion. The main purpose of religion, to dim the light within you.